How do I feel? Tough one to answer these days. I've been in a transitional phase in my life for the past 5 years, it feels like. And at this moment, I'm sensing the need to really decide how I want to feel for the next 5 and the next 10. And I'm just realizing how much how I'm feeling is decided by me. Like, I decide how I feel. And that principle is very new to me. So I don't know. What makes me happy is trying new things, continuing to discover myself, meeting new people that are inspiring me in so many different ways, seeing other people be happy, contributing to that happiness in any way if I can. That makes me happy. Seeing people win, that makes me happy. Seeing all the people who took courage in their life or their own choices and how that's positively affecting them, that makes me happy. So a lot makes me happy. Just being around my family makes me happy. Being around loved ones makes me happy. So there's so many reasons. Being alive and healthy and being able to talk and move, that makes me happy. And then on the other side of things, a lot of things do make me sad. Like seeing the division makes me sad. Seeing the hurt, that makes me sad. I feel all the emotions, even if it's not me living them. If somebody else is sad, I'll feel it. So, and I think there's a lot of sadness around also. When I think back to when I was a kid, if I were to look at myself, it's very clear that I probably just would have been on a creative path the whole right through, had that been nurtured, had that been encouraged, had that been even just getting seen. But for me, I think the people around me, because I'm so used to being useful, helping out, they've seen me in positions to be able to help out, to be the one to create, to be the one to bring things to life, to bring people with me. And a lot of those times I would have needed maybe to be brought or to have a hand, you know? So that guided me in the direction and ultimately led me to real estate. And again, I'm very, very thankful for that. But during the pandemic, we did have some time to think. We had some times that we had a moment where we couldn't even do transactions, we couldn't visit. And during that time, that permitted me to really sit down with myself and question myself in terms of, is what I'm doing making me genuinely happy? Is this filling my cup? From an outsider's perspective, or even on paper, everything made sense. Financially, for the first time in my life, I was more than content with what I was making. I was able to contribute to other people's financial goals. It seemed like on paper, everything, but I wasn't growing. The creative part of me was itching to discover what it can do. And that moment permitted me to take the risk, and even though my real estate career was going very well, to dive back into acting. And that moment was beyond confusing for myself. So even more so for the exterior that saw me in a certain way, now wanting to try something totally different. 5 years later now, I'm beyond thankful I took this path and this risk, because it's permitted me to discover so much about myself. It's permitted me to discover, to at least give myself the opportunity to ask myself, what if, and then see where that guides me. And here we are 5 years later, and I just booked my first role this year. And all the questions that I've been receiving for the past 5 years, all the doubts that I've had personally and around me for the past 5 years, all the, no, but you were good in real estate. Like, why don't just stick to that I've had. I'm thankful for that role. I'm just sad that it required that to give myself the permission to do what I genuinely wanted to do. Why is it that I have to wait to get the permission to try something if I want to try it? Why is it that there needs to be a reason to do something if you just feel like it? A few people along my path that might have been extra hard when I just needed kindness, might have been critical when I just needed guidance, might have not had the sensibility I would have needed. So yes, some resentment grew for sure. However, now with retrospect, I'm thankful and grateful for these people. Sometimes you can use it as fuel, in a way. And at the end of the day, you're the only one who knows what you're trying to do and the reasons why. And not everybody's going to understand, and not everybody's going to see it. So even all the people that might have made it hard for me, I'm so grateful because, hey, life is hard in a way, and it comes with it. So if I can be me fully with the hardships and with the good stuff, that's when I feel like you've won, and that's just life. My first acting class, so I signed up, I went, and I bombed so hard. I got stopped in the middle of my scene and was told by my teacher, hey, I'm not quite sure you should be here. And that knocked me down because filled with shame, embarrassment, feeling like, again, I'm failing. What am I doing? It was so tough. And honestly, I sat on that for a little bit, but that little voice inside, when you wake up the next day and you still think about it, you wake up a week later, you still think about it, and you wake up a month later, you're still thinking about it. There's something about that it just wouldn't go to sleep. And I'm really, really grateful that I eventually listened to it and signed up for another class. And I think that's something that's sometimes where we go wrong. It's you'll have an instinct and then fall on the wrong environment, the wrong people, the wrong timing, and we'll just take that in and listen to it. I'm really happy that I didn't, but it was really tough. To create, you're coming from a whole different point of view. And it being not strong at that time was difficult to receive. The pushback I felt like I was getting from every side. But eventually I did go back into another class. Eventually I did meet somebody who did see something in me. Eventually I auditioned for a thing and I bombed, and I auditioned again and then I bombed, and then I learned from that and it grew, and here we are 5 years later. And now that I look back at all these failures, all these embarrassing moments, all these, all the feedback and the critique I was receiving, and you're just like receiving everything, taking it in, it's permitted me to right now understand that all of it is comments. I don't have to listen, or nobody has the answer. Nobody can really tell you who you are, what you should do, because it's going to be different path for everybody, and not everything's going to work the same way it does for everybody. All I can do is learn, take in, and then see how that works, or take in a comment and see how that applies to me specifically. Not being supported alone would have been a okay path. What it felt like was being pushed down or denied of my reality. You know, when somebody's literally telling you what you're thinking isn't right. And I do feel like we hear that a lot. We hear opinions that you never asked for. You're hearing, no, you should do this. No, I see you in this. No, you are too tall, too small. We hear so many things from others. So it felt like, especially when you want to do something, when there's that little voice and you're telling yourself, maybe, and you're shy about it, you're trying to build your confidence towards it, and you're hearing negativity, or you can't do this, it can break you. But lucky for me, I kind of had that in real estate too. My first year, I had an experienced realtor tell me she didn't see it for me, and here we are 8 years later, and I'm still doing real estate. So people are wrong and loud when they're wrong about you, and that will happen. The most important part is to not let go of what you're feeling, and just find the right people to support you, and not stop at that one person, or even if it is a bunch of people, not stop at that. A lot of the times, if you're able to just go through the hardship, when you eventually get to the other side, you can look back and see all the lessons and the reasons why this was happening to begin with, but we can't get there if we don't actually stick through. And that goes for everything. So I'm very proud of myself for, even if I didn't have the support, the encouragements that I would have wanted in certain moments, I think ultimately it made me so much stronger now. And at this point, I don't need it, which is amazing. So if I receive it, it's a plus. But I personally am supporting myself, and I'm proud of myself. And as long as I know that, and I can understand the why I'm proud of myself, then that's all I need to advance. So that way, whenever I reach a higher goal, because I always do, I give myself a goal, and then I get there, and then I'll give myself another goal, and then I get there. So until the next one, at least now mentally, I know that we'll figure it out in the way. There'll be hardships, as long as I can hold on. Prioritizing my peace. We're still practicing as we speak. Not easy when, again, I've been called hypersensitive so many times in my life. And right now I wear it with a badge of honor, in the sense that I think I'll always be the type of person that will feel what's going on around me. So that piece, I gotta hold on to it with dear life, and I'm still learning how to do it in certain scenarios or environments where it might be a little trickier for me. But at the same time, I think that's a good practice. We talk about masking a lot these days. I'm professional masker. I can be super sad and feel all the things and still be here in your face and have to do a presentation, even though I'm not agreeing with you, and stay polite and diplomatic. But now, in a way, staying and figuring out what peace means to me also means letting myself be angry, letting myself feel the ugly things, letting myself be weird, letting myself be oh, okay, not feeling great. All of these are, all of these emotions deserve to exist too. And I'm allowed also to feel them. So what brings me peace now is actually allowing myself to feel these things and then questioning myself as to why this is happening. Why am I angry? Why am I sad? Why did this person trigger me? Like, and then when you get into your why and then you start digging in, then you find out a lot of things about yourself that bring you back to peace, if that makes sense. So letting myself not have peace is peace. It's interesting. It feels a little bit new in a way, but it feels like what I've dreamed and imagined can fully happen. And now I can have freedom. I know it exists. And once you know it exists and it's there, then you can't unknow it. So yeah, I'm really happy that I've at least acquired that, because that alone, at least now, my path and my life will be mine. So as long as I never let go of that and don't forget that I have that, now society and a lot of things might make me think different, but as long as I hold on to that, then there's nothing that can really stop me. Most of the regrets I have was not speaking up when I wanted to, was not doing what I wanted to, was not holding on to what I believed was right when everything around me was telling me different. That I do, in a sense, regret. But at the same time, that frustration that built over time of not doing these things is giving me the power right now to make sure that I do differently moving forward. So yes, I felt regret, but right now regret is my best friend because I remember all these things. And I think what's really important is moving forward to act differently so we can have different results. I feel open and excited to see what happens when I go about life not pushing myself down. I feel excited to see what happens. I feel hopeful. And I feel thankful. Thankful for the lessons, thankful for the opportunities, thankful for what I've learned so far, and also thankful to know that it's a never-ending journey. So I feel like I'm never fully going to get to a specific point. It's just going to be a story, and then hopefully that story is pretty damn interesting and exciting. I guess that's my wish, that everybody can find a way to have their beliefs, what they're fighting for, be different, and still find ways to get along. As long as I can also be different and myself within that. Now, it's easier to say when I'm around environments that permit me to be this way. So what happens when I'm not? And that is the world. So all I can do is bring perspective, but also that requires me also listening. So that way we can find ways to bridge. Now, not everybody wants to bridge, and that's okay too. But in the universe that I would like to be in, everybody belongs. Allow yourself to fuck up as many times as you want, and give yourself the permission to do whatever you want. Try things that you're curious about, even if there's no reason to. And to not wait, because ultimately, I I wonder sometimes, now life is the way that it is, but sometimes I wonder what happens if I know all this earlier, you know? But I can only know it once I do it. So get into action as fast and quickly as possible when it comes to things that you actually genuinely care about. And then see what happens. Might be surprised.